We are Cactus Wrestling. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos.
Welcome back to Cactus Wrestling. We are fresh off the Olympic Games World Qualifier, where men's freestyle for Team USA sends to and qualifies to. We're starting off at the bottom here with Spencer freaking Lee, as he's known, at 57 kilos, making his world senior level international debut.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You
This
know?
is
And
first time.
it
He did
went
pretty well.
Yes, it went how a lot of people expected it to go. Crazy enough, even though he dominated his way through the bracket, some people were like, "Oh, it was kind of close with some matches." So,
Realistically, it was one match that was kind of close.
yep. So, first match in the qualifying round, he wrestles Ben Tarek from where was Ben from?
I watched the entire match on an Instagram reel.
Yeah, he wrestled Ben Tarek from Morocco. Tex him 10-0. Spencer has a really great leg lace. He's super dangerous in the parterre positions. And you're like, man, who's gonna touch him? He has a come from behind win. If I remember correctly, he was come from behind.
Oh no,
He
he was
win.
definitely down like 6 or 8-0.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
He was down and ends up winning 10-6. I'm gonna pronounce his name wrong over Wan Hao Zhou from China. Who ended up coming all the way back to take true third and qualify for the Olympics, with his only loss being to Spencer Lee in a 1-point loss.
I mean, hey, he's an Olympian, which I mean,
yeah,
I don't know how well that bodes for Spencer.
I think he's still getting his sea legs, so to speak. I think that he's going to
finding his bearings.
Yeah, I think that it's been a long time since he's been international senior level.
Isn't this his first time international senior level?
Well, no, I mean just international in general. I guess I should.
Yeah.
He hasn't wrestled international in a long time, and I think he's still getting back to his freestyle bearings.
Well, that's true, because also, people from other countries don't wrestle quite like how Americans do. So like it's slightly different for depending on the country because they focus on different things.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I mean, that I mean, I'm kind of not surprised that guy ended up coming back to become an Olympian, considering he was able to pretty much give Spencer all he could handle.
And then some. But hey, Spencer got it done, and then went right back to kind of rolling. 12-2 tech over Vladimir Igorov from North Macedonia. Again, just making easy work with these guys. Makes it through the quarters, semifinal. Even shorter match, I think it was again like around 30 seconds with Rakat Kazan from Kazakhstan, another 10-0 tech, and didn't wrestle in the final. And what kind of we talked about is I don't think anybody wrestled in the finals.
Yeah, it didn't look like it when you're going through the results. Yeah. It's like, hey, I qualified and we're done.
So, with both guys going and it not, a win or a loss not impacting seeds one way or the next, I think most guys just were like, it doesn't matter. I qualified. Why risk the injury? If the tournament even allowed them to. I mean, for all we know, the tournament could have just been like, you made it. You're qualified.
You made it. Yeah. You're qualified. We're not going to bother. Yeah. That might have been what they did.
Yeah.
So Spencer outscored his opponents in, aside from the Zhao match, 32-2.
Yeah.
And then you add the Zhao match, it's
still 32 to like.
It's 42-11.
Yeah.
But in 3 matches, he gave up less than a fourth of what he gave up in the Zhao match.
Yeah, he's looking good. Spencer is I feel really confident in how we're gonna do it 57 kilo. Whether it was Thomas or Spencer, I felt pretty good either way. As getting a medal. I think Spencer has it in him to get gold, and we'll see what happens.
I mean, I saw, I think it was a Flow interview where they were expressing the one concern with Spencer is like they'd show a clip of Spencer getting taken down. Like it was just like the guy shot in and blasted right through him and took him down. No problem. But
Yeah.
I mean, the argument that they also made was Spencer gets on top.
It's done.
He's one of the like deadliest on top, which is
Yeah.
like a really good argument there. Like he really is. So although he does have that, downside where like maybe on his feet he's not going to be quite the superstar, but he only needs one takedown and he could win the match off of just that.
Yeah. He really does a great job rolling guys up. His leg lace is deadly. But additionally, like he's great with a gut. I mean, he tilts. We saw that in his folk style. Is that how good he is on top, and he's able to carry that over to freestyle and just keep getting swipes.
Yeah,
Keep getting exposure. But super confident how he's going to do. I feel really, really good that he's going to bring home some hardware for Team USA in his first outing. At the
so you think he'll beat Michik?
If they meet up, yeah. I really like Spencer's odds.
I feel like Michik's better on his feet than Spencer. Like, if Spencer can't take him down, then I feel like that's not a great matchup.
We'll see. Like I said, I think Spencer still has really good neutral game, and we saw that at the collegiate level. And Michik is a former, college wrestler for Michigan. Granted, he was not at 125. I still wonder how he makes 125. I think it's going to be interesting to see how it goes.
Serbian cutting strategy,
Yeah.
Well, you think he could beat a goof?
It's tough because I feel like Spencer Lee has been like, even when he loses, you're like, well, it's still Spencer Lee. And I feel like it's tough to put that kind of pressure on him, but I feel like he's kind of risen to it pretty well. But yeah, I really think that at his best, a healthy Spencer Lee is going to do some really big damage at the international level. I'm really looking forward to seeing how he does at the Olympics this year.
I mean, even with Aguv being 61 at the Russian nationals.
I don't get why that was. We talked about that off screen. I don't understand if Russian nationals is a little is. I don't get if if it's similar to US, like the US Open, where it's like, okay, now like you're not going 57.
Right. No, I feel like
I
Russia does things a little differently.
Yeah, like I feel like their team is a little bit more handpicked.
Yeah.
Where even guys that have lost in the past have like still gone taking the spot.
But isn't Sedulayev not currently in the mix?
I think that he put out some message that like he has hope that like things are gonna work in his favor.
Oh, okay.
And but yeah, as of right now, I don't believe that he is eligible to wrestle at the Olympics due to some political issues that he's had.
And I thought I saw something somewhere that said that Yazdani isn't going to wrestle the Olympics either.
I haven't seen that, but if he doesn't, that would be very interesting. And I feel like Aaron Brooks would be.
I mean, he'd become a pretty heavy, I feel like, favorite.
He's already ranked number 1 in like Flo's rankings, Aaron Brooks.
Yeah, okay. Flo's rankings, they're gonna put him anything but 1.
He beat David Taylor 2 straight matches.
Okay, but you go from not on the rankings to number 1?
He was ranked before. He was.
Oh, he was? Okay.
Let me see if I can pull it up. He was ranked previously due to his world level, success.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he was like, where he is now, obviously.
I mean, I also heard that after the Olympics, he's planning to go 92 kilograms next year.
Yeah, that probably makes sense.
So
I feel like he's a big guy.
Do you think we'll see him come for Snyder's spot?
No.
No, you don't think he'll go up to 97?
I don't. I think that's a big jump. Okay, so Aaron Brooks was previously ranked 5th in the world by Flo's rankings and has jumped to number 1. And David Taylor's dropped from 1 to 2, and Yazdani from 2 to 3.
Huh.
So
I don't know if I would have done quite that, but rankings are rankings, whatever.
It means nothing in the end. It's all,
Yeah.
So, how about that Zain Retherford guy?
Yeah, that guy, that freaking guy. That train that the Zane train, had a real bumpy ride.
Hmm. I got
Holy
him.
crap.
He was one that I probably out of the two, I was less confident about Zayn.
Yeah.
I feel like I've said this for a while. I think that the weight cut really, really affects Zayn. He is
Well, and then he
really
had to
big.
wrestle extra matches.
Yep. So I didn't think he was going to get it done. Um, he starts off strong. Pin in qualification over was it Stefan Kuman from
Yeah, yeah.
where is he from?
He's from Romania.
Is he?
Yes.
Yes, he is. And I'm like, okay, good start, good start. And I'm watching it at work, and then he has another tech, and I mean another win.
Yep. 11 zip.
11-0 tech in the round of 32 over Ibrahim Guzman from Yemen. And you're like, man, Zayn's looking good. He's off to a solid start. And then his round of 16 match with Tolga Tumar Okshir from Mongolia. And I
Yeah.
watched this match, and I knew this guy was going to be tough. A lot of people believe he's a threat to be a gold medalist in the Olympics this year. And so, this was a must-see match.
Well, clearly
And
he's a threat. Yeah.
yeah, and I was
I mean,
it was not a typical Zayn match in the sense that like he didn't push the pace. There wasn't any offense, in my opinion, coming from him.
yeah.
He kind of got pushed around the mat. He just looked, there was not a lot of action coming from him. And in my mind, I'm thinking, wow, like it's the weight cut. He's exhausted. And not to discredit his opponent, but when you're a reigning world champion,
Yeah.
even though it's a weight class up, you still should be a pretty heavy favorite coming into a qualifier.
I mean, it's not even like, oh, you lost like a really close match. Like 7-2 is pretty in favor of the other guy.
Yep. Zayn tried to shut it down. He was up at one point, 2-2 on criteria with about 90 seconds left. And he tried to shut it down. And I don't know how people out there, but I've always been under the impression and I've talked to this with Mike, it's wrestling to win versus wrestling to not lose. And when you wrestle to not lose, a lot of times you do lose. And Zayn was like, I'm going to try to hold this lead for another 90 seconds. And almost, with about 30-ish seconds left, gives up a 4-pointer. And it's a clear 4-pointer. And he's like, we got to throw the brick anyway because it'll determine the match if they can somehow overrule it. And sure enough, they didn't. And he loses, 4 points goes 5 points, 7-2 loss. And I go, that's it. How is he going to make the weight tomorrow and then have to wrestle through a gauntlet of like, he'd have to win 4 straight matches. I said, it's not happening. He just wrestled, 3 straight and lost 2 of them. I mean, I lost the last one. But sure enough, the next day he comes in, makes the weight. I'm like, okay, he looks good. Okay, let's see how he feels. Making weight, I always tell guys, is only half the sport. It's expected that you make the weight.
It is expected.
So first match, he has Ali Begoff from
Bahrain.
Bahrain, and he tech pins him. He's up 10-2, turns him one more time, has him on his back, pins him.
Yeah, that was the one where he ran like a half, right?
Yeah, I was like, this looked more like college Zayn, where I was like looking, really tough on top, getting after his points, constant scoring, and I'm like, this is good, this is good. But in my mind, flashback to yesterday, it goes, okay, well, you started the day off with a pin, and then I know that tougher guys are coming.
Yeah.
So Kuriev from
Tajikistan.
yeah, from Tajikistan. So I didn't know the country. I just knew of him that he was a good wrestler, tough guy. Abdulmasad Kuriev, 5-2 win. Again, Zayn looks good, controls it. Still not happy about how he kind of shuts it down at the end a little early. And I'm thinking, okay, well, it's not great. This kind of got you in trouble before, but maybe you're playing the long game of I need more time because these matches for Zayn were coming back to back. He wrestled 4 matches in like 3.5 hours.
It's a short time, recovery time.
Then in the bronze match, he wrestled Sujit Kalkal from India. Another squeaky coast match, 2-2 on criteria. And I thought, okay, this is the tough part. You're through it. And no disrespect to the guy he wrestled last. I just thought that his back-to-back match of Kudayev and Sujit, both of which are tough wrestlers. I mean, I believe it was Sujit beat Yanni 8-2 last time they wrestled.
I remember you saying that.
So, and granted, Yanni has up and down performances as we've kind of seen, but I'm like, okay, that's a tough guy. And frankly, the guy he has last wasn't as quality. And we saw that actually with his result. So he wins 7-0, controlled win over Nurigan Skrabian. And he's AIN, but I believe he was from Belarus, if I remember correctly. So he's an individual neutral athlete.
Individual neutral athlete, yeah.
But they always put it alphabetically, so it's AIN instead of INA. But Zayn wrestled back really hard, and I think his story is pretty great because as we've kind of talked about,
getting past Jeet was scary as they come.
But Zayn was going to retire.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He already had taken pretty much accepted a job in New York City. He was going to move.
Fully move out of wrestling. I was like,
yeah. What? He was convinced to kind of give it one last run and say like, let's just see how it goes. And sure enough, he gets the job done. He wins the spot. That's awesome. Okay, what's the next step? Qualifying the weight. We haven't done that in a while. 65 kilos.
I know. I remember Jordan Oliver not qualifying the weight.
Yeah. And he gets it done. And it's just crazy how so kind of life happens sometimes. You have a guy that was about to retire from wrestling, switch gears completely, and now he's wrestling in the Olympics. And this is the first time since 2016 that all 6 guys are qualified.
Well, it's funny. That's true. But it's funny you also say that because there's also Rao, the Olympian Greco at, I think, 97. Yep. Similar thing. He retired, came back, and now he's a friggin' Olympian. Like, it's crazy how, like, it's like these guys are like, yeah, you know what, I'm done. And then out of nowhere, not out of nowhere, but like out of nowhere, they're friggin' now Olympians.
It is insane.
Yeah.
But
yeah, what a bumpy ride for the Zayn train.
Similar to the prediction I made for Spencer, I'm gonna make one for Zayn. I think he has the potential to be a world medalist. And I feel like that's dumb to say because it's like he just won worlds last year, and the year before that he took silver.
I don't know.
But
I think it's possible, but I don't know how likely.
I would agree. I'd say it's possible, but maybe not probable. I really think that the additional 11 plus pounds he has to lose to make 65 impacts him. Just watching him wrestle, Zayn at 65 versus Zayn at 70 is so different. And if there was like a 67 kilo weight class, I feel like that would be Zayn's sweet spot of I'm bigger, I'm stronger, but I still have the energy to be fast and explosive.
Yeah, let's just get back to 8 Olympic weights, and
I don't think that's ever going to happen.
The world will be all as well. Well, isn't that John Smith? Didn't he say that now that he's retired, that's going to be one of his goals is to get like 10 weights for the Olympics or something?
I haven't been following the interviews with Smith or the Oklahoma State stuff too much, but
I think he said
honest,
it was him.
I'm going to take a hard stance on this, and people are not going to like this.
Oh boy,
I like the Olympics with less weights.
Why is that?
Maybe not 6, but I think not 10. I think that the Olympics, part of it is that it's supposed to be harder than Worlds, and that it is more impressive to win an Olympic title than a world title. And when you have 2 amazing wrestlers, and there's only one spot, as we saw with like Jordan Burroughs.
Yeah.
You have, look at the depth of our 74 kilo weight just in America. Now factor in other countries like Russia, Iran that have incredible guys. I think it makes it more competitive if you are putting your best guys forward and one guy has to cut or one guy has to grow. It's only so many cars can fit through a tunnel at once.
An interesting, yeah. I would like to see more than a 16-man bracket.
Well, but additionally, I was going to say is, and we've talked about this, and I think a whole video can be made about this. I do not like the Olympic qualifying process. I think
the fact that there's only 16.
The fact that you can have a guy from, and I'm going to go right through the Olympic qualifiers right now. You could have a guy like, blah, blah, blah.
Not Chamizo.
No, you're not Chamizo. You could have a guy like, and again, this is no disrespect to anybody, because if you're an Olympian, that's awesome. But you can't honestly tell me that Jaden Lawrence for Australia, who is in the 15th spot currently for the Olympics at 86 kilo, is a better wrestler than David Taylor.
Yeah.
So what I would like to see, and again, people are not going to like this because small countries get pushed out, there should be some sort of qualifying that allows multiple entries from multiple countries. Other sports do it. You see it in track. You see it in.
Is it more difficult to have just larger brackets? Like,
could you imagine a bracket that featured Kyle Dake, Jason Nault, and Jordan Burroughs? And if you win that, my goodness, you are the world champion because you beat all these guys out.
Yeah, the Olympic champion.
You're Miles Amin, and you beat in back-to-back matches Aaron Brooks, David Taylor, and Hassan Yazdani in 3 straight matches.
Yeah.
There is no one in the world that could question that you were the true best.
Right. Yeah. You can't be like, oh, well, so-and-so wasn't there. So,
And every year that happens, it's like, oh, well, fake champ because Russia wasn't there, because so-and-so wasn't there. So I'd like to see bigger brackets. I'd also like to see, if, this was the way things were, we would see guys like Miles Amin who live in America, who train in America, who are coached by Americans. He would be wrestling for America. The same thing we would see like Darian Cruz or Roman Bravo Young. And we would continue to see Darian Cruz is an Olympian.
Yeah,
He's wrestling for Puerto Rico. And you're going to tell me that Darian Cruz is better than Thomas Gilman?
No.
I mean, sure, he beat him in college.
I mean, do you think Darian Cruz would have beat Jax Forrest or Marcus Blaze?
No.
The Olympic trials? Huh?
That's my point. And I'm not trying to talk down these guys. I would like to see Austin Gomez, Sebastian Rivera that are qualified. I'd like to see Nick Lee in that bracket too. And I'd like to see all these guys wrestling for Team USA. You're living in this country. You're reaping the benefits of its coaching, its training, its everything. And then you're representing another country. I just have a problem with that. And if other sports can do it, where it's like, okay, we have USA versus USA, in the final heat. Why can't wrestling say, hey, let's make bigger brackets?
Yeah, because like swimming is an example you've used before, where there's multiple, we've had multiple US with medals in the same event. So even in track, same thing.
I mean, and the bracket size, you have youth tournaments with children that are 256-man brackets. You're telling me a 26-year-old can't do it? And then people can say, well, they're not going to put all those on TV. Honestly, most people aren't watching a lot of them anyway.
Yeah.
I remember 2020 Olympics at 3:00 in the morning, and my wife's family is sleeping when we were on vacation. I'm in the living room watching the TV on volume 1, and sitting like this, be like, cable 1. Because nobody's getting up to watch those anyway.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'd like to see bigger brackets. I'd like to see better American representation. I'd like to see other countries say, hey, we're going to put forward more reps. In other countries, if you're not a qualifying guy, then you have to continue to up your game. You can't rely on other countries to carry you. It's not fair that Americans are going to other countries, reaping the benefits of an American system and picking up a country that hasn't done anything for them.
IOC, I hope you're watching.
But like my dream is to see on the podium in one, you have David Taylor, Aaron Brooks, and Miles Amin, hand on hand, shoulder on shoulder, celebrating all with, a gold, a medal in their mouth and an American flag wrapped around the three of them. That's my dream for wrestling. And I don't know why it's not a possibility.
Well, maybe it will be.
It'll never change.
It's my dream. It'll never come true.
It won't. But think, like, how exciting would it be to have Jesse Mendez, Yanni Diak-Mahalis, Nick Lee, Sebastian Rivera, Austin Gomez,
McKenna.
and Zayn. Yeah, and Joey McKenna. All these guys that are, top guys in the world that go internationally and dominate at senior level success. How crazy would it be to be like, oh my gosh, I just wrestled Nick Lee. Now I have Zayn. And if I beat Zayn, I get to wrestle Yanni. Are you kidding me? Like, that would be a true world champion.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely would.
So
let us know down below. What do you think? What do you think of Zayn? What do you think of Spencer Lee? What do you think of Chamizo's performance? What do you think of what Mike's been pitching here? Should the IOC really take a listen? Implement. We'd love to hear from you down below. And yeah, thanks always for watching and being here with us. We are Cactus Wrestling.
Thanks for watching. We are Cactus Wrestling, and we'll see you next time on our next video.